Now, many South Africans are stressing out about paying school fees. That's according to DebtBusters' second annual Money Stress Tracker survey. For more insight on this, DebtBusters Head Benay Sager joins us via Zoom. Good morning to you, Benay. Thank you very much for joining us here on the South African morning. I think, a lot of South Africans are stressed when it comes to their financial situation because of ongoing issues around unemployment and the high cost of living, perhaps, here in our country. Just talk to us about the survey, the Money Stress Tracker survey, and how it came together.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show, Abigail. This is the second large-scale annual survey we conducted online, and we had over 35,000 participants. And the purpose of the survey was understanding, similar to last year, how stressed are our consumers when it comes to finances. What kind of knock-on impact is this having on the other parts of life, home life, work life, their health, and so on? That was the first part to understand. The second part was to understand, for those who are stressed, what are the main reasons that they feel stressed? What are the causes of stress, which you alluded to, school fees being one, but it's not the only one. The third part was to understand what are actually consumers doing, to deal with this money stress. What are the avenues they're exploring to get themselves out of the situation? And the last part was to understand more the psychology, how they are dealing with it at an overall level, for those who are sort of stuck or need some help. And across the board, we looked at differences between age groups, income groups, men versus women, and so on. To try to understand the landscape. So that's the overall picture for the Money Stress Tracker.
So let's chat then and dive into these stats. So what are the stats looking like? Who's more prone to being stressed out about financial issues and money? And are people more stressed this year than last? What are the stats showcasing?
Yeah, I'm afraid to say that people they do seem more stressed this year about finances compared to last year. Last year, when we asked them, are you feeling anxious or stressed about your finances, 70% said yes. This year, the number jumped to 78%. In our view, that's a significant increase. Not only that, but we also saw, for those who are stressed about their finances, almost all of them, 94% of them said that this also spills into their home life. It makes them more stressed. So I think behaviorally, we're probably all feeling this, seeing it. When you are stressed out about money, it definitely prevails in other parts of your life. The other significant finding was, in terms of the role, going into also Women's Month next month to display the role that women are playing when it comes to finances. So across the board, it seems like similar to last year's results, women are more concerned about finances than men. And this was the same case in terms of home life. This was the same case, with regards to work life. They seem more stressed. And I think there are two explanations for this. One is that in South Africa, women carry quite a large burden when it comes to providing for families and looking after families. Not just financially, but otherwise. And I think since the pandemic, we have certainly seen that the number of people that families generally look after has grown. And secondly, we also know that particularly in townships, a lot of the entrepreneurs tend to be women. So they have first-hand experience in terms of the finances that happens, that impacts the family. And I think they're definitely seeing, we're seeing this, in terms of reflecting in other parts of life. There were also some differences with regards to age groups and what people are doing. Perhaps we can explore some more of that.
Sure, we can definitely chat about that, but let's talk about some of the contributing factors here and where this is coming from. Where is the majority of stress rooted in when it comes to South Africans and their financial stresses?
Yeah, so we asked the question, what if you are financially concerned, then what is your main financial concern? 50% of the people said they are concerned about running out of money before the end of the month. And that's in line with what we saw last year, pretty consistent. 44% said they're worried about how they're going to pay towards their debt repayments at the end of the month. Now, this was at 36% last year, so this has gone up significantly, about 22%. The next one that they were worried about was the interest rate increases. 23% of our consumers seem quite worried about that. Now, if we have to think of this and the struggling to pay off the debt in together, because interest rate increases, although we got a bit of a reprieve on Thursday, until then, for about the last 20 months, every other month, interest rates have gone up. And I think this has put severe impact on people's finances. And I think that was probably the top three reasons that people felt stressed out about their finances.
Benay, just a few moments ago, you did mention the age factor. Are we seeing young people just as concerned and stressed about their financial situations?
Yeah, we are. I think what people are concerned about is quite different. For example, you mentioned the school fees. As the youngest population are not too concerned about it because perhaps they either just finished school themselves or they don't have young kids. But as you get older, especially middle-aged groups, seem quite concerned about school fees. But across the board, the number one reason for all age groups was, people worrying about running out of money before the month end. I think as you get older, the retirement question comes up. Those who are 24 or younger, let's call them less than 25, they don't worry too much about retirement because it seems like such a distant thing, and it actually is. But with the older population, about a quarter of them, 25%, were worried about not having enough money for retirement. And I think I just want to stress this point that it is an inevitable thing. It will come. I think we need to make sure we cater for long-term things. But I think our consumer is so overwhelmed with the short-term needs, in terms of what they need to pay and cater for, that long-term planning is sort of falling by the wayside. It's not really featuring in people's thinking for the long term.
And then just lastly, Benay, are we seeing these stresses just surface when it comes to low and medium income earners, or are high income earners exempt from these stresses?
Yeah, I think nobody's exempt from them. I think I want to make the point that what people worry about is different, depending on income levels as well. However, everyone seems to be worried about running out of money. Everyone seems to be worried about struggling to pay off the debt to various levels. Everybody's worried about the impact of load shedding, interest rates, and so on. Nobody's really exempt, and I think the point is to make sure that we try to put in place and work with each other, particularly those close to us, to essentially manage money. And I think if there's one takeaway to leave the listeners with today is to start talking about your finances and your money and income and all of that with not just family, but also with some of your close friends. You will be amazed how resilient South Africans are. And I think the last few years have shown us that. I think some of the creative solutions people have shared with us have been quite amazing on the survey. And I think we only find out about those things the moment we start talking to our peers about money. So that would be my urge to the people to start doing that today.
Yeah, very interesting conversation, Benay. Thank you for your insights and sharing some of the stats that you've unveiled using this money stress tracker survey. We appreciate your time and your insights. That was DebtBusters Head Benay Sager chatting to us about this money stress tracker and the results, and him confirming that South Africans are indeed more stressed out about money this year and their financial situation this year than they were last year. We are going to take a quick break. Still ahead on the South African Morning, Gauteng Education has received over 300,000 applications for grades 1 and 8. But will parents be able to pay for this? New research shows many South Africans are stressing about paying school fees. And that was part of that conversation that we just had with DebtBusters Head Benay Sager.